Welcome to the third episode of the Westmen Rebooted podcast. And now it's the 11th of June, the Sunday after the UEFA Champions League final, which City, of course, won 1-0 against Inter. And I think I'll be putting this out today too, same day as I recorded. It's now 12 in the afternoon for me here, so there's well enough time for me to publish it today. So maybe you're listening to this today. Well, I mean, for you it's of course today anyway, but maybe on Sunday 11th well, it doesn't matter when you're listening to it. I don't know why I'm going on about this, because it's completely irrelevant. And I have so much to talk about now in this final episode of the first season of this podcast, that I don't know why I'm wasting time on completely pointless waffling here. So let's start then by taking a look at my predictions at the start of the season. And now Premier League, let's go there first, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe I should save it for the last. Bloody hell! I'm not recorded a podcast in some time, so I'm seemingly struggling with my words here now. To be honest, I've not spoken English verbally in months, so maybe that's the problem here. sorry for the constant throat clearing. Let's start off who I predicted to win the Carabao Cup, so the English League Cup. Well, I predicted Spurs to win it, and that's not my proudest prediction, but neither is my FA Cup prediction, which was Chelsea. Well, for these London clubs, at the start of the season, Conte at Spurs, Tuchel at Chelsea, they were looking very promising. Chelsea, with all those signings they made in the summer, I expected them to do much better, but well, Todd Lasso did what he did, and it turned out to be quite a poor season. In fact, a very poor season from Chelsea, finishing 11th or 10th or something like that. So yeah, that prediction didn't quite get there, although weren't Chelsea in the pretty, well, I don't remember when Chelsea got knocked out of the cup, but it doesn't matter. Europa League, I predicted United to win, which didn't happen, obviously, because Sevilla won it, and yeah, that not wrong either. So far 3 out of 3 wrong. Serie A, Inter, 4 out of 4 wrong. Yeah, Napoli had a great season, especially in the league. Well, Inter were in the Champions League final, so it's not like they had a horrible season, and that my prediction was wayward or something, and well, they're the defending champions. I'm pretty sure they were, so it would have made sense if they won it again, but they didn't. La Liga, I said Real Madrid to win, but I also mentioned that Barcelona have a very good chance. Well, not a very good chance. I said they may very well win it too, because of Ancelotti's record of winning only one of each of the 5 top leagues of Europe and the world. So yeah, and I did say also that I'm putting Real Madrid only because I have to back Carlo. So basically I expected Barcelona to win it, but I put Real Madrid because Carlo and that. So 5 out of 5 wrong. Bundesliga. Bayern. So 1 out of 6 now is correct. Liga. PSG. 2 out of 7 right. World Cup. Spain. Oh no, that's just not a good prediction at all. But yeah, what's it? 2 out of 8 now. Then UCL. I predicted Manchester City to win. So that's right, and that's one I'm proud of because, of course, they had never won a Champions League until yesterday. And I predicted it correctly at the start of the season. I'm absolutely buzzing about this magnificent prediction that I managed to predict the best team in the world to win the Champions League. But in all fairness, it could have been Real Madrid. The City's performance yesterday in the final was not very good at all. They could have been 3-1 down after 90 minutes, or lost it 3-1, in other words. And I think if the draw went another way, so that City and Real would have met in the final, and then City performed like that in the final against Real Madrid, they wouldn't have won it. They just wouldn't. And so yeah, they were lucky yesterday in the final, and they were lucky in the draw because City is always the favorite in two-leg ties. Doesn't matter who it's against, but they're always the favorite. But in a final, there's much more. The coincidence factor is much bigger than in two-leg ties because, well, obviously it's just half as long a game, basically. So yeah, the coincidence factor is higher, and that's also the reason why Champions League in general is harder to win for the very best teams than leagues are, and it's easier to win for sides that are like second or third or even fourth in their own league, such as Chelsea a few years back, or well, Real Madrid did the double last season, and Bayern won it a few years ago. They won Bundesliga too, but that's different. It's not like Bundesliga have any competition in the Bayern have any competition in the Bundesliga except for this season when they certainly did until the very last minutes. And yeah, but I don't know. Of course, Real Madrid have an absolutely ridiculous record with the Champions League. I mean, it's fair to say that they have been the best team in the world and have still managed to win a whole lot of Champions League titles. So credit to them. I don't know how. Well, I do know how they do it, but it's different than the City way of doing it. It's more based on singular moments and individual players, whereas City is one build structure which is supposed to deliver consistent results, which is why they win the leagues so often, basically every year now. They'll do it next year too, unless they get a points deduction or something from the 115 charges they are facing. So yeah, and that's also why Real Madrid did not win La Liga, and why Ancelotti's teams in general don't do that well in the league, or well, as in terms of winning the title. Of course, it's not like his teams finish 17th or something in the league, or they wouldn't even be in the Champions League in the first place. But his tactics or style of play is more suited for knockout competitions than leagues, whereas City and Pep is the other way around. In knockout games, and especially one-leg finals, you need individual moments. Those are what win the game most of the time. And that was the way yesterday too. Lukaku missed like 2 great chances and blocked another great chance, a header from another Inter player, and they really should have scored. Really don't know how they didn't manage to score. Well, I saw it, but some ridiculous saves by Edison as well, and poor decision making by the Inter players in the final moments of attacks. And of course that Rodri goal is, I mean, it went like 1 millimeter around the Inter defenders, so it was really close to not going into. And it was an individual moment, of course. The shot, not an easy goal to score by any means. So individual moment won it, which is, in my opinion, why the very best approach for a team that wants to challenge both for the league and Champions League or cup competitions in general. Now, mind you, of course, City have won a lot of domestic cups, even though their Champions League success is was and still is sort of only one win, quite lesser than their success in domestic competitions, which I find quite intriguing because, you know, Champions League knockouts, they are 2-legged par the final, whereas domestic cups, FA Cup, League Cup, are 1-legged before the semi-final. I think the League Cup semi-finals have home and away leg for both teams, and then Wembley has a singular semi-final at the Wembley. Sorry, FA Cup. Did I say the Wembley has? And the FA Cup has a singular semi-final at the Wembley, I believe. That's the way it is. So it's quite interesting how they've still done better in these competitions, which have more one-leg ties, and then not done anywhere near as well in the competition which has 2 legs. So even though their style of play is suited for longer periods of time and longer games, sort of, in a way, you know, of course every game is 90 minutes, but like 2-legged games or that. See, if football Champions League was like the American sports, NHL, NBA, knockouts are best of 7, you need 4 wins, then I think City would have done much better. But it's still quite interesting how even though there are 2 legs in the Champions League, they've not done anywhere near as well in theirs as they have done in the domestic cups, even though by all logic they should do better in these longer periods, or play with a smaller coincidence factor. But no, maybe it's because they are more used to playing the English oppositions in the Premier League. and they already know how to beat them better than they know how to beat Real Madrid or Bayern or other teams like that. I don't know, but it's still interesting. But now, what on earth was I going to talk about? Oh yes, I was going to say that in my opinion the best approach for a team that wants to challenge both for the league and the Champions League and other cup competitions for basically a team who wants a quadruple or a treble or that sort of doesn't want to only focus on a single competition. And I think the best way is that it's a team that is both built for longer periods of time, long-term success, and consistent results, repeating the same performance over and over again, doing the same things, being routine-like, and dominating the play and winning games on expected goals constantly, consistently, and also at the same time having players that can win games on their own and giving them freedom and not just making them stick with all the other things necessarily then as the other players too. So for example, if Pep Guardiola wants to play short passes, build up, but then they have Kieran Trippier, who according to Sean Dyche can play passes over to the other side of the pitch completely, like from one corner to the other accurately, then maybe you should give him freedom to do his own thing, get those longer passes in, and if you want your wingers to not cross but to cut back to the center for a shot instead of crossing along what's the high ball I suppose is a better word, a floated cross, then well, maybe that's not a very good example actually, because if the striker is not a one suited for headers, then there's no point in crossing floated crosses in. But for example, if you want your wingers to cross it rather than shoot, but you have a winger who can score 25 goals a season, can score long shots, and that, then let him score, let him shoot. And if you have a striker that you want to why am I doing this to myself? Why am I having to make up three different? Well, if you have a midfielder, and generally you want your midfielders to stay in the same line, but you have this one midfielder who's very good at dribbling and carrying the ball and maybe playmaking, then you give him the freedom to do his own thing instead of just sticking to the same things as everyone else, because these players can produce the special moments. Players with special abilities can produce special moments, and it makes it less predictable if not everyone works to the same plan. Basically, if everyone else plays short passes, then suddenly someone plays long pass and catches the opposition defense off guard. Or if they generally don't shoot from outside the box, but then suddenly player shoots from outside the box, it can catch the keeper of the guard, or things that the other team essentially can't prepare for. Because if you don't do what you usually do, then the teams don't prepare for the other team to do things that they don't usually do, or that they don't ever do, basically. But I don't know what I'm going on about. I really don't. But I guess I'm just trying to say that, you should have a proper, consistent team, well structured, and essentially trying to control the game and playing to a certain style. But then you can have players who are given free passes, given the license to do whatever they want to, basically. Free roam, or shoot, or dribble. Things like this are often what win the games. Carlo Ancelotti said in his book that at the top level, football is mostly about fine-tuning, which of course I completely agree with. Because, if you tell your inverted winger, Vinicius Junior, for example, at Real Madrid, if you tell him to cut inside and then pass instead of shooting, if he normally shoots, then even things like that can change the game in your favor or in your opponent's favor. But I think that's enough about this tactical talk for now anyway. Let's head on to the Premier League predictions. So I'm now taking the real Premier League table here so that I can check how well I did. I think I maybe should have a game that how close I am to predicting them, then the more points I get. So let's say if I get the position spot on, I get 10 points. If they are one below or one above the position I predicted them to finish in, I get 5 points. If they are two positions below or 2 above, then I get 3 points. And if they are 3 below or 3 above, I get 1 point. So I'll take a pencil and mark down my points. Let's start from the bottom. 20, Bournemouth. They finished 15th, which is of course 5 spots above my prediction, so I won't receive any points at all. Bournemouth had quite a good season, really. I mean, the XG shows that they, according to that, should have been relegated. But looking at other stats, they often had more possession, more shots. They were quite an attacking team, and I think they favoured them. In recent years, attacking teams coming from the Championship have generally done quite well. Like Nuno's Wolves, Wilder's Sheffield United, Bielsa's Leeds, now Bournemouth, Fulham, especially Fulham this season, although their XG stats were also quite down, and I believe they will struggle next season. But yes, Bournemouth 20 in my predictions and 15 in Premier League, in real life. So no points. 19, Nottingham Forest. And in real life they finished 16th, 3 spots above, so that's 1 point. Yes, actually I'll change my pencil to a pen. There we go. Now, Forest were the luckiest team in the league by far. And I expect them to be again in the relegation battle next season. And I think Bournemouth can very well be there too. But now I'll save this for the first podcast of next season, or the second season 2 of Westmen Rebooted, because I'm not, by the way, mentioning it anyway, but I'll be continuing this, probably like every 3 months, something, maybe 5 episodes a year is probably realistic. But yeah, 1 point for that. 18, I had Southampton, and they were 20th. That's 2 spots below, which is 3 points. So now I'm at 4 points in total. Southampton, yeah, really poor season, and nothing more to say really. 17, Leeds, and they finished 19th, 2 spots below, so 3 points it is again. So now I'm at 7 points. By the way, the highest amount of points I can get, of course, is 20 multiplied by 10, which is 200. And I doubt I'm even getting 100 here, which would basically require getting each and every team one spot above or below what I predicted. 16, I had Fulham, who predicted 10th. Yeah, Marco Silva, I'm not really surprised that much. I predicted Mitrovic to score 15 goals. I believe he scored 14, but he was banned for 8 matches, and he also missed some penalties, so he could have scored 15 and should have scored 15 too. So I don't think I can blame myself for that. It was still a very good prediction, because he would have scored 15 had he not been banned for 8 games, which I couldn't possibly have predicted. Then I predicted Gabriel Jesus to, not score more than 12 goals in the league. He scored 11, so spot on again. And also he again very tragically underperformed his expected goals, which was funnily expected, at least from me. So yeah, I'm happy those predictions came off quite nicely. 15th, I had Palace, who came 11th, so no points. And now for Fulham either. I'm not sure if I said that or not, but obviously no points. 14, Brighton, no points again, because they finished 6th. 13, Everton, no points, because we are 4 spots below what I predicted. And now I'm happy we stayed up. And maybe I'll go through my predictions first, and then I'll tell what we, Everton, should do in the transfer market in preparation for next season. Because maybe I just shouldn't, leave my prediction here. Maybe I should, maybe not, but I won't anyway. So I'll go through the predictions first and then talk about Everton. And yeah, 12, Wolves, they finished 13th, so that is 5 points. Absolutely lovely. Now I'm at 12 points. 11th, Brentford, they finished 9th, so 3 points. Tony, of course, banned for next season. Well, not the whole next season, but 8 months from like now on. So it's like until January. Be interesting to see what they do in the transfer market. 10, I had Villa. They finished 7th, so that's 1 point. They've signed Juri Tielemans now on a free transfer, and yeah, Unai Emery did very, very well after he came to Villa. Nothing more to say. 9, Newcastle. Finished 4th, so no points. 8th, oh dear. Leicester. Well, they finished 18th, so 10 points below my expectation. I don't know why I predicted them to finish that high, even though their transfer window was absolutely horrible. I really have no idea how I managed to do that poorly with that prediction. 7th, I had West Ham, who finished 14th, so no points again. No, I mean, they could have finished 7th. They were not that good in the league, and they won the Conference League, so basically they finished in Euro spots anyway, despite finishing 14th in the league, because they're now in the Europa League. So, not that bad, but bad nonetheless. 6th, Arsenal. Yeah, no points. Good season from a Ted's team. I don't think they'll be challenging for the title next season, unless they do something really special in the transfer market, which I doubt they will. So far I've seen they're interested in Joao Cancelo, which I don't really know why they would do that, because if they sign him, they need to either drop Ben White and play Cancelo as the right back, or they have to drop Zinchenko and play Cancelo as a left back, or they have to drop Saliba or Gabriel and play White as the centre back and Joao Cancelo as the right back, or they have to put Zinchenko to the midfield and play Cancelo as a left back. Of course, they could also do it the other way around, play Zinchenko as a left back and play Cancelo in midfield. 5, Manchester United. They finished 3rd, so that is 3 points. So now I'm at 19 points. 4, Spurs, finished 8th, no points. Really underperformed in my opinion. That squad is not bad at all, even though everyone keeps saying Harry Kane scored 30 goals with a horrible squad around him. It's not a horrible squad by any means. Son just had a poor season, Richarlison had a poor season, as was used in a position which he's not very suited to. Kulusevski didn't have a very good season either, and the defense was shambolic, so yeah, poor season. Let's see what Ange Postecoglou can do, and I'm not expecting too much, to be honest. I think it's a huge gamble, quite similar to Villa getting Steven Gerrard from Rangers, and at least Gerrard won the Scottish Premiership with Rangers, who hadn't won in like 10 years, whereas Postecoglou went to Celtic, won there, who won 9 in 10 years. So yeah, let's see. 3, Chelsea. Oh my word, finished 12th. Yeah, no points. 2, Liverpool, finished 5th, 3 spots below, so that's 1 point. And I'm now at 20 points. And because my first prediction was Manchester City, I predicted them winning the double, but not the treble, because I thought Chelsea would win the FA Cup and Spurs the League Cup. That makes it 30 points in total. The only one I predicted spot on was City. So, yeah. Top scorers I have marked down as Haaland, Salah, Kane or Son. And well, it was Haaland, so And Kane was, of course, second with a great 30 goals too, but Haaland's, what's it, 36 is it? 37? Let's check. 36 indeed. So yeah, 30 points out of 200 is not exactly great. Maybe I'll do better next season. Yeah. Now I guess I could, tell about my FPL, because it was my best season ever, as each of my seasons have been so far. Because my first full season was 1920, when I got 1,512 points, which is really poor. In 2021, I got 1,857 points. Last season I got 2,156 points, and now I got 2,400 points. So I doubt this ridiculous rising can continue for next season, because it just has to stop at some point. So far I've averaged about 250 points more than the last season every year, and surely I can't get to 2,650 or something like that. Let's see how much the winner of the overall league got. 2,776. 2,650 would get me. Wait just a moment. I should probably pause it, so I will too. Well, 2,650 points would get me to the joint. Or it would get me the joint 1,576th place. So that would be the ridiculous improvement, because this season I got 652,167th, which is top 6%. So even though basically everyone in the club Discord seems to have finished much higher than me, it's still generally pretty good. Top 6% is, well, it's very good, isn't it? Generally. If you top 6% out of 10 million, then you are 600,000, which I basically am. So yeah, it's a bit over 10 million, isn't it? Nowadays, the FPL players this season. So yeah, I think I did well. My target before the season was 2,200 points, and I exceeded that by 200 points, so I can be very happy with the season. But I think enough of FPL so far, for now, not so far. Also, of course, club coming back for next season, and I'm very excited for that. I'll be producing more content on this channel about club, and maybe FPL too, I don't know. Maybe not, probably not, but at least club. So I'm excited for club coming back for next season. And now, time to talk about Everton for a few minutes before I end this podcast. So, Everton, yes, I think, who should we sell? Well, we've released already, Yerry Mina, because he didn't accept a contract offer, so basically did not accept reducing his wages. We've also released Asmir Begovic, who rejected the contract offer from us too, because he wants first team football, wants to be a starter, which I completely give to him, because he's still very capable of being a first choice keeper. And then did we release someone else too? Yeah, Andros Townsend we released, and was there I'll just find a certain tweet. Well, yeah, we released Mina and Townsend and Begovic, and we've offered new contracts to Coleman and Davies. And I completely agree with all of that. We tried to keep Mina on lower wages. Agree with that. Tried to keep Begovic. He wanted to leave. Can't do anything about that. Would have wanted to keep both of them if they agreed, but only on our terms, not on their terms. And, well, Townsend, I don't agree with, because now we have to get a backup for McNeil, which means another signing we have to make, and so I would have much preferred us to keep him on low-ish wages, because he's definitely capable of still being a backup, and I think he could fit Sean Dyche's system pretty well as a winger with good crosses and that. So then we also decided not to use Conor Cody's £4.5 million buying option, which I also agree with, because we don't need 6 centre-backs. We have James Tarkowski, Ben Godfrey, Jared Branthwaite coming back from his PSV loan, Michael Keane and Mason Holgate. That's 5 centre-backs already. Then we should sell Nel Maupin, something like that. Maupin, maybe. I don't remember the proper pronunciation anyway. And Andre Gomez and Jean-Philippe Gbaman. And who do we need to sign? We need to sign a new backup keeper because Begovic left. We need to sign a left back, an experienced one, who's good enough to start, because Mykolenko is really not good enough yet. He needs competition and he needs to develop for a couple of years still before he can really be a solid starter, or before he should be not a guaranteed given starter. There never should really be one of those, in my opinion. But, the preferred starter, I think he needs a couple more years of development before he's good enough for that. So there are 3 agents for that. There is Aro Martin, the Spanish player who was in Bundesliga, I believe Mainz, or I'm not sure, but in Bundesliga anyway. He's 26, I think. Then there's, of course, Kolasinac, who is 28, I think, also free agent. So one of those, and I'd be happy. Then we need to sign a goal-scoring winger, finally Richarlison replacement, because we've not replaced him. And, I think Gordon was supposed to be his replacement, but he scored like 1 goal in the first half of the season when he was at Everton. And then we didn't replace Gordon either. I mean, not like it really affected our goal scoring ability, because he contributed absolutely nothing to our goals 95% of the time. So yeah, it didn't really affect us selling Gordon and not replacing him, but selling Richarlison and not replacing him certainly has had its effect on us, and it's not a positive effect by any means. So we now need to replace him. And I really don't know whom with. Well, there's a free agent, Jonathan Bamba, who is an option. I really would not mind signing Bamba and then, a £30 million Richarlison replacement, whoever that may be. Apparently Fulham are interested in Damari Gray, and if they pay like 10 million or even 5 million, then sell him there and get 2 proper left wingers, goal scoring left wingers, of which preferably one is able to play striker like Richarlison. Then we need another striker too, because Maupin is horrible and hopefully we can sell him off and get like 5 million back of the 10 million we paid for him. We need a striker. Again, free transfer market is, there's Moussa Dembele, there is who else was there? Oh dear. Well, there certainly was this Kenyan striker Michael Awunga from Qatar. Scored 40 goals in Qatar last season, and has scored like 30 goals in a season in Japan too. So he's an option, but he's not the first option, hopefully. But he's an option if we can't get. And then there's Victor Gyökeres from Coventry, a Swedish striker, but he's not on a free transfer. He would cost like 15 million. So that's why I would certainly prefer Dembele. I don't think there was anyone else on the free transfer market apart from the two I already mentioned, because Zlatan, of course, retired, so he's not one to consider. Then we need a McNeil backup, because Townsend has been released, and I have no idea who that is, but we need one anyway. For the backup keeper, Tom Heaton is available for a free transfer, so maybe we should get him. Why not? Has been at Burnley too, on the Dyche, I believe, so would make sense. I mean, it doesn't really matter who you have as your backup keeper nowadays, does it? Really, Pickford played every single minute of last season, I think, in the league. So if he doesn't get an injury, then it doesn't really matter if we have bloody Andy Lonergan on our bench. Hopefully we get Heaton or someone else on a free transfer and don't have to spend any money on a backup keeper, because that would be silly. Then if Amadou Onana leaves for like 60 million, hopefully we can get off him if we decide to sell him, if he wants to go. And that there are replacements. There's of course Southampton's Romeo Lavia. There is Leicester's Wilfred Ndidi. There are other players too, like, well, there are other players anyway. I did have a list, but I may as well pull it up. Wait a second. Well, you don't have to wait. Well, now you do, because I started talking. But I could have just paused it and we would already be talking about the list. Here we go. So, Ibrahim Sangare from PSV is an option. There is Real Sociedad's Zubimendi, and there's Benfica's Florentino, and possibly Sheffield United's Sander Berge. Oh dear, Berge. So yeah, these are the replacement options for Onana if we sell him. But now I believe that this podcast episode is at its end, and I wish all the listeners a very nice and very warm, yet not too warm, a summer, and I'll see you again here, or well, not necessarily see you, but I'll be talking to you here again just before the start of next season to review the transfer made by clubs and to make my predictions for next season. But this is the end of the first season of the Westmen Rebooted podcast, and I will be back here for the season 2. Thank you and bye for now.